This is the question asked in today's skillrack daily challenge. So we will be given multiple strings as an input and we don't know how many strings will be given as input. So here we are given 4 strings as input and the length of each string is 5 characters. So now we have to convert all these strings into a character matrix. So the first string is skms and all these characters in the string must be stored in the first row of the character matrix. And the second string contains the characters ka, pa and then a hyphen. So all these characters must be stored in the second row of our character matrix. So like this, when we keep on storing all the remaining characters, this is how our character matrix would be looking like. So here we can see that the first string contains the characters skms and the characters in the first row of our matrix are skms, and in the second row we are storing the characters present in the second input string, and in the third row we are storing the characters present in the third input string. So this is how we will be forming the character matrix. So now we have to print the characters of this character matrix in the vertical zigzag fashion. So first we should start printing the characters from the first character of the matrix. So we will be printing from top to bottom. So we will be printing the characters skil, and once when we reach the bottom of the matrix we should move to the next column. So here we are moving from top to bottom. So in the next column we should be moving from bottom to up. So we will be printing the characters LRAC, and again C is the topmost element and we were moving from bottom to up. So in the next column we should move from top to bottom. So we will be printing the characters KPRO, and again we have reached the bottom. So in the next column we should be printing from bottom to up, and in the next column we should print from top to bottom. So this is how we should be printing the characters of the matrix. We should start from top to bottom, and in the next row we should move from bottom to up, and again in the third row we should move from top to bottom. So like this we should be printing in a zigzag fashion. And while printing the characters we should print only the alphabets. So we should not print the character hyphens. So we should print all the remaining characters except hyphens. So in this case when we print the characters in such a way, our output will be skillrack programs. Now let us see how to write a C program for this. So first I am creating two integer variables named row and column. So initially I am setting both of them as 0, and in the next line I am creating a new character array named str of size 10,001, and in the third line I am creating a character matrix of size 10,001 and 10,001. So the character matrix can store up to 10,000 rows and 10,000 columns. And now we have to accept our input strings, and we don't know how many strings will be given as input. So we will be using a scanf statement within the while loop. So the scanf function returns 1 whenever an input is received successfully, else it returns 0. So when we put this scanf statement within the while loop, whenever an input is received it returns 1. So whenever it returns 1 the while loop will be working, and whenever it returns 0 then the while loop will be stopped working. So this is how we will be accepting our input when we don't know how many strings need to be accepted as input. So whenever an input is successfully received, we will be executing the process within the while loop. So whenever a successful input is received, we have to store the characters of the string into the matrix. So to do that I am creating a loop that iterates from 0 till the string length of str, and in every iteration of this loop I am storing the characters of str into the matrix at the index row j. So this is a j loop. So in every iteration I am setting matrix of row j is equal to str of j. So we will be storing the characters of the character array str into the matrix. So the first string will be stored in the first row and the second string must be stored in the second row. So I increment the value of row. So row plus plus, and the column will be the string length of str. So column is equal to string length of str. So after the execution of the while loop, we would have accepted our input strings and we would have converted the input strings into a matrix format. So now we have to print the characters of the matrix in a zigzag format. So to do that, again I am creating some integer variables named R, C and flag, and I'm initially setting all of them to 0. So we will be using these variables to print our characters. So again I'm creating a while loop, and this while loop iterates until R becomes equal to row and C becomes equal to col. So this is the breaking condition for this while loop, and in every iteration of this while loop we should be printing the characters present in the matrix. So using a printf statement, I will be printing the character present in the matrix at the index R cross C, and we have to print the characters only when the character is not equal to hyphen. So before printing I am also including a if condition. So if matrix of RC is not equal to hyphen, then we print the character. So first we have to start printing the characters from top to bottom. So in every iteration we have to increment the value of R. Only then we will be printing the characters in the vertical fashion. So we increment the value of R whenever flag is equal to 0. So the variable flag is initially set to 0. So whenever flag is equal to 0, we execute the condition R++. Else we execute the condition R-. So in the first iteration the flag value will be equal to 0. So we will be moving from top to bottom. But when we keep on moving towards bottom, at one stage we will be reaching the end. So that is when the value R becomes equal to row. So whenever we reach the last row, we have to move to the next column, and then we should start printing from bottom to up. So if R is equal to row, then I execute these conditions. So I set R is equal to row -1, and we should move to the next column. So column ++. And also I set flag is equal to 1, because when we move to the next column, we have to print from bottom to up. So if we want to move from bottom to up, we have to decrement R, and we decrement R only when the flag is not equal to 0. So that is why we are setting flag is equal to 1, and we increment column and we set R is equal to row -1, because when we are moving from bottom to up, the starting must be the last row. So R is equal to row -1. So like this we will be moving from top to bottom and bottom to up. But again, when we are continuously moving towards the up, then we will go out of range. So we should be keeping on checking in every iteration. So if R is equal to -1, then we will be out of range. So we have to move to the next column, and we should start printing from top to bottom. So I set R is equal to 0, because when we are moving from top to bottom, the starting must be the first row. So R is equal to 0, and we should move to the next column. So C++, and I set flag is equal to 0. Now let us check our program with the sample test cases. So I am going to give the sample input 1, and for sample input 1 our expected output is skillrack programs. So we are also printing skillrack programs as our output. So this is the logic behind today's daily challenge. Thank you for watching.